I'm Jenna LaGrange, and this is Embracing the Chaos. What is up, you guys, and welcome to episode number 7. This episode is going to be a doozy. It is a crazy story that I am actually really excited to share and to get out there. It's something that I would say 99.9% of the people probably don't know, besides my close family. So this episode is called The Father I Never Knew. So I'm going to give a little disclaimer here with titles. So the person I refer to as Dad is going to be the guy that raised me. And the person I refer to as Father is going to be the guy that helped make me. Let's put it that way. So for this, we're going to go way back to when I was 6 or 7 years old. My parents, my mom and my dad, had just gotten married sometime around then. I don't know. I can't think too far back. I know that they had gotten married. I was a little older because I was able to actually be in their wedding. So I'm 6 or 7, and now I'm in a courthouse, and I am going through an adoption process. I was told at the time that I had to go through an adoption process to make my last name the same as my dad's last name because they got married after I was born and my mom gave me her maiden name. What 6, 7-year-old is going to question that process? I didn't. I was just like, cool, I got the same last name as everybody now, and carried on with my life. Not a question or a thought in my mind. Fast forward about 10 years, I'm 16 years old, and my family has a bit of a falling out with my mom's mom. She separated from the family, but one of the last comments that she made before we parted ways back then was, "Ask your mom who your dad is." I thought it was odd. I didn't think much of it. I did ask my mom, and she's like, "Oh, don't worry about it." And I didn't question it. I had enough problems. As a 16-year-old girl, you're being bullied in high school. You're dealing with other drama. Like, I just didn't care. And it wasn't something that I thought too much about. If you go back a couple podcasts ago, I do talk about my childhood a little bit and how my dad is not the nicest person out there. And he put me through a lot growing up, saying that he hated me and I just never felt like I was ever good enough for him. And I have like a fruition. I am now, fast forward, 23 years old. My wonderful, kick-ass, hardworking mom finally decided to leave my dad. They were getting divorced. It was probably one of the proudest moments I could have ever been of my mom at that point. But in the process, of course, things get nasty within a divorce. So what does my dad do? My dad sends me a bunch of messages, phone calls, talks to me, whatever, and goes, "You need to ask your mom who your real dad is." And I was like, okay, fine. You're the second person that said it. Mom, we need to sit down and have a talk about it. So I sat down with my mom and we had a long discussion about who my real dad is. So my mom and I talk about it. I found out that she met a guy at a bar and they had a relationship, whatever it may be. The guy gave her one name that she believed to be his name, whatever. He leaves. She doesn't see him again. Fast forward 4 weeks. Guess what? My mom is pregnant. She did everything in her power to hunt this man down. Back in the 90s, there wasn't really a whole lot that could be done. She did everything that she could, but she ultimately had to make the decision to give up that search. The state looked, she looked. It was just she wasn't getting anywhere. So fast forward, I am now 8 months old, and my mom meets my dad, and he becomes a big part of my life from then on. So my mom made the decision to not tell me that my dad wasn't my real father. And honestly, I truly respect why she didn't. As a young child, it would have been very confusing. It would have been very hard to understand. And I think she was doing it to protect me. And with everything that she had gone through up until that point and fought through, I 100% don't blame her. And I'm glad that we were able to finally have a discussion about that and talk about that. And she was able to open up because I'm sure that that was uh, weight off her shoulders in a way. Keeping a secret like that would be very hard from everybody, really. Close family obviously knew, but a lot did not. A lot of our friends didn't, and nobody really knew. So I don't blame her one bit. I am very proud of what she accomplished. And I'm glad that we were able to talk. And I think it made our relationship even stronger because we were able to talk about that. I will say, after we talked about it, it was like opening a gate for me, a big realization as to why my dad said the things that he said, why I never felt like I was enough for him. And it's because I never truly was his child. He did help raise me. He stepped in when I was only 8 months old and helped raise me into who I am today. With the good, the bad, he did some good things along the way. I couldn't imagine what it would be like to step into a role as a dad when you weren't maybe quite ready for that. And I don't know if his behavior towards me really changed until my little brother came along, because my little brother is his bio son. So I don't know if that was like his trigger to disregard me in a way. He did treat my little brother fairly similar to me, so not really much difference. I don't think he ever told him that he hated him to his face, but I don't know, and that's my little brother's story to tell, not mine. So learning that my dad wasn't my actual bio dad really kind of was enlightening. It was like a weight off my shoulders. It made me realize maybe why he was the way he was towards me. Not that it approves the behavior that he was doing towards me, but I was able to understand it, process it, and let it go. It was something that I held on to for a very long time and contributed to my alcoholism back then. So letting that go and moving on with my life was huge. So once I found out that he wasn't my actual dad, I immediately was like, who is? I want to know. Like, I want to know who my actual bio dad is. At this point, I've been with Jack for a little bit, for at least a couple months at this point. Um, and I wanted a future with Jack. I wanted kids with Jack. But this kind of made me step back and think, oh, wait, well, maybe I don't. Because I don't know what health issues may lie on that side. And I don't want to pass something on to my kids without knowing. So this led me to 23andMe. Now, I know with all the craziness with 23andMe, I did request my samples be destroyed and all that. So Don't come for me in the comments about that. I already did that, canceled my account, all the fun things. But 23andMe was huge. It helped. It was huge. I don't even know how to begin to explain that. So I dropped my DNA to 23andMe, and I've been in the system for probably about 2 years. Yeah, it was about 2 years or so. And you get emails all the time saying, oh, you've connected with new family members. Take a look here. And I would check every now and again, but wasn't super consistent about it. And I get an email, like I do every day, that you've got new family members. And I don't know what it was about that day, but I was like, I'm going to check it. I'm going to pop on and see what this is all about. So I did. And lo and behold, I found a half sister. It blew my mind. We were 50%, so that obviously means one of our parents is the same. I didn't know what to do. I was in shock. I looked at Jack when it popped up and I was like, oh my gosh, I have a half sister. It is a crazy, crazy small world how it all fell into place. I sent a message through 23andMe to my half sister. I can't even begin to imagine what it was like on her end or what she experienced after finding me. Her and I have chatted. We chat fairly on and off every couple months or so, just sending messages back and forth. I've also met her in person, and that was pretty cool to do. She has been my lifeline into that side of my life. She let me know what his name was, a little bit more about my father. Unfortunately, quite a few years back, he suffered a TBI from a motorcycle accident, and it ultimately changed his entire personality. So he is no longer really in her life or in any of my other siblings' lives. He's not in mine. I've talked to him a few times, but I don't really have any drive to be a part or in his life. I just wanted to know what kind of health issues to kind of expect. And I got those answers. And I also got a pretty cool kick-ass half-sister in the process of it, which I think is super cool. I had a brother growing up, so to actually have a sister is it's pretty cool. So that was really enlightening. Being able to actually find my father through 23andMe is crazy. It literally feels like a Hollywood movie, the step-by-step process to get to there, to finding out who he was and finding out more about him. So like I said, I do have other siblings from him, which this is where it gets kind of silly, crazy, doesn't seem real type situation. Come to find out, I have actually interacted with another half sister and half brother because they've both been arrested by Jack at some point in time. I can't remember if I had arrested the brother or not, but I had interacted with both of them while I was working in the jail. So, small crazy world. It blew my mind when Jack and I sat down to talk about it. He kind of giggles and he's like, I've arrested him before, and it blew my mind. I just started laughing and I was like, yeah, absolutely. This is my life. This is the way that it is. This is so cool. So this story, why I wanted to share it is because one, I haven't really talked about it and I don't really talk about it. Because I guess it's not like the forefront of my mind all the time. It's not something that I just throw out randomly in conversation, if you will. And I think the reason why it's not the forefront of my mind is because I have processed it and I have let it go. I think for me, it was more enlightening and a weight off my shoulders to realize that my dad isn't my bio dad, and that there is nothing wrong with me and who I am, and that his problems with me are his own issues. It's not a me problem, if that makes sense. It helped me realize that I'm not the problem. Yeah, I'm not the problem, and that he has his own problems that he needs to get through. It also made me realize that I do deserve to be loved properly. My mom has done a phenomenal job filling the gaps of both parents. She always has. She has done everything that she could with what she had. And I don't, like I said in the very beginning, I don't fault her for not telling me by any stretch of the imagination. If anything, I understand. I look at my own children now, and if it were my situation, what would I have done? And my mom was young and she was alone. She was living alone. She didn't have parents to really lean on when she found out that she was pregnant. And I honestly couldn't imagine going through that. And her story and her struggles are a big reason as to why I waited so long to have my own children. I actually didn't want children. One, because the dad that raised me, I was scared that I would end up like him. Luckily, I'm not. And if I were to ever get that way, I know that Jack would check me in a heartbeat. So as I go through my own journey of raising my own kids, I've got to say that I'm proud of everything that my mom was able to accomplish and what she was able to do. And I understand why she made the decisions that she's made. I think this whole story for me has helped me be more understanding with everybody's situation, that the decisions that people make, they're making at that time because they think it's the best thing for those around them or their children or whoever it may be. I don't want to say that this situation changed who I was. I don't think I really wasn't shocked. And I don't know if it's because I always deep down maybe knew, but it wasn't like a big curveball to me. It was just like, oh, okay, well, new mystery. Let's solve it. I did solve it. I got the answers that I needed. I gained some pretty cool people in my life because of it. And I just don't think that it really changed who I am. It's just a part of my story. I have a dad. I may not like him, but I do have a dad. And I have a father that I truly don't know. And I don't really have it on my bucket list to dive in and get to know him. Especially now when he's just not who he even was to begin with. And it doesn't sound like he's a very nice person anymore either. So I'm okay with where my life is. I am proud of my mom. I am proud of what I've accomplished. I'm proud of my little brother for doing the things that he's doing. I'm happy with the family that I have. I've got my mom, my little brother, grandmas, aunts, uncles. Most of all, I've got Jack, and he's the real base for my family and the main point of my family. So I have everything that I need, and I don't really need anybody else. And I think that's why it doesn't bother me, because it provided me with closure and helped enlighten me on why I was maybe treated the way that I was. And it's really helped me grow. So with that, we are going to call this episode a doozy. It's a crazy one. There's a lot of ups and downs and information. So if there's any questions that you guys have, what the 23andMe process was like, or really any questions that you have on my journey to finding my father, you can toss them in there. I'm an open book when it comes to this stuff. I'm not afraid to share it. So if you have questions, please send me a message and I'll definitely sit down and have a conversation with you. So this is the end of episode 7. Our next episode, number 8, we are going to be taking a dive into my military career. What made me decide to join? How I've gotten to where I've gotten. And we are going to open up that door. So thank you guys for listening to episode number 7. Stay weird, stay loud, and always embrace the chaos.